It is pull day, aka the best day. We're training back, biceps, a little bit of shoulders, and spoiler, I am filming this after I've actually done the workout, but I can tell you it is a very solid session. It's minimal equipment, all you need is a pair of dumbbells, a chair and a table, and I'm going to walk you through the whole thing, sharing my top tips and tricks as always to help you get the best results possible. But enough of me yapping, let's go warm up. First, you know the drill, baddies don't skip their warm up, so we're going to start with some dynamic stretches to get the blood flowing and help us reduce the risk of injury. We want to pay special attention to warming up our back and our shoulders because they're obviously going to play quite a big role in this pull workout. I also like to include a few dynamic stretches for the lower body because your lower body is going to be important for helping us stabilize some of the other lifts. Okay, now that you're nice and warm, first up we have dumbbell pullovers. We're doing 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps, and this is one of my favorite exercises that you can do at home with minimal equipment for the back. Now there's 2 variations of this exercise that you can try out. One is more effective than the other, but let's start with the more basic variation. So you're going to lie on the floor and hold a dumbbell with both hands, your arms extended over your chest. Retract your shoulder blades and with a slight bend in your elbows, slowly lower the dumbbell behind your head. You want to lower it until you feel a deep stretch in your lats. Pause for a second at the bottom without letting the dumbbell touch the floor, and then engage your lats to bring the dumbbell back over your chest. One of the biggest mistakes I always see with this exercise is bending your elbows too much so that you're feeling it more in your triceps. That becomes a completely different exercise, so you want to keep your elbows pretty fixed and make sure that the movement is coming from your lats. When you get the form down, this exercise is really good for your lats because you get the most tension in the movement in the most stretched position, and that's obviously really important if you want to build muscle. However, we can improve this movement, and this is where variation 2 comes in, and that's when we're going to grab a chair. So instead of lying on the floor, now you're going to lie across the chair, and this is going to allow you to get a bigger range of motion. You also get a deeper stretch. So since we're having that bigger stretch on our lat muscles, we're increasing the intensity of the exercise and also creating a bigger stimulus for muscle growth. This variation will also be slightly harder, so if you're a beginner, I'd recommend starting from the floor and then working your way up. But whichever variation you choose, the main thing I want you to focus on is slowing down the movement and really feeling that stretch, that deep stretch in your lats. We're going to rest for 90 seconds between each set, and then we're moving on to incline curls. Similar to dumbbell pullovers, incline curls are a really great exercise because you get more stretch on the biceps when your arms are behind your body. So grab yourself a chair and we're doing 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. The way I like to set this up is shuffle forward to the front of my chair and lean back slightly, so I'm creating that incline like I would have if I was using an incline bench in the gym. You want to keep your core tight and your upper back pressed against the top of the chair. You want to keep your elbows fixed throughout this whole movement. Little pause and squeeze at the top and then lower back down slowly. Your elbows should be slightly behind your torso and close to your sides throughout this entire exercise, because if you let your elbows drift too far forwards, then that's going to reduce the activation that the long head of your biceps is going to experience. Now we're moving back to back. Arguably, back is one of the harder muscle groups to train if you don't have a lot of equipment, but there are ways around it. So all we need now is a kitchen table, or just any table or desk or whatever. We're going to do inverted rows. We've got 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps here, and you're going to slide yourself under a sturdy table and grip the edge with an overhand grip so your palms are facing away from you. To shift more of the emphasis onto your upper body and to take some of the stabilization aspect out of it, you're going to bend your legs and keep your feet planted. If you want a more challenging variation, you can do the movement with your legs straight. It's just going to require a bit more core engagement. So keeping your core tight and your upper body in a straight line, pull your chest towards the table and stop just before your chest touches the edge of the table. Squeeze your shoulder blades together at the top, slight pause, and then lower yourself slowly back down until you reach full extension without locking your elbows out. A good cue is to think about pulling the table towards your chest and aim to get your chin like over the edge of the table. And another thing to look out for is make sure your hips aren't sagging too much, because that could be a sign that you're not engaging your core enough. If you're someone who wants to be able to do a pull-up in future, then inverted rows are a really good first step because it'll help you build that foundational strength that you need to actually pull your whole body weight up when you have access to something like a pull-up bar further down the line. Because this table is a pretty good height for the next exercise, we're going to move on to single arm rear delt flies. So we're doing 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, and this is a bit of a harder exercise, so if you have a lighter pair of dumbbells, then now's the time to switch them out. The rear delts are a really tiny muscle in the back back of your shoulders, and I feel like they're one of the muscles that actually benefit more from lighter weights because it allows you to focus more on building that mind to muscle connection compared to if you were to go with heavier weights, because you might not be able to get that full contraction at the top of the movement. So to set it up, place one hand on the top of the table or a chair or whatever you're using, hinge forwards at your hips, keep your spine neutral, and hold a dumbbell in one hand with a slight bend at your elbow. Instead of thinking about pulling the dumbbell upwards, I like to think about it as pushing the dumbbell outwards, because I feel like that helps me engage my rear delts a bit more. Pause at the top, squeeze a little bit, and then lower with control. You want to keep the tension on that rear delt and aim not to let your traps take over. If you do feel that your traps are taking over the movement a bit more, it could be down to a few things. One, using too much weight, and two, swinging the dumbbell around a bit, so you might be using too much momentum. You also want to keep the dumbbell at about 90 degrees to your body, so aim not to let it drift too far forwards, because that will shift some of the emphasis off of your rear delts a bit. So once you've done 12 to 15 reps on one side, then you're going to switch hands and go straight into 12 to 15 reps on the other side. Then you're going to rest for 60 seconds, and then you're going to go back into the first side that you started with, and repeat that for 3 sets. Next, we're going back to build some beautiful biceps, and we're going to do 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps of hammer curls. We're going to do this standing to switch things up a bit. So to set it up, you want to stand tall, hold the dumbbells with your palms facing each other in a neutral grip. Keep your elbows close to your torso and curl the dumbbells up slowly. Squeeze at the top and then lower back down with control, and don't lock your elbows out when you get to the bottom. You want to avoid swinging and keep your wrists neutral the whole time. One mistake to look out for is letting your elbows flare out too much, so make sure that they're pretty much pinned to your sides and your upper arms aren't moving too much. And also make sure not to use too much momentum, because this is going to help us increase the time that our muscles are under tension for, therefore leading to more muscle growth. Hammer curls are particularly good at helping us build the thickness of our biceps because of the neutral position that we've got our wrists in. Unlike other bicep exercises, this is going to help us target more of the bicep brachialis, which is a muscle that's found under the long head of your biceps. So it's sort of, as we build it, it helps push out the outer heads of the biceps, therefore making your bicep look wider. You do need to remember though that this isn't going to happen overnight. You need to be using progressive overload and lifting progressively heavier weights over a long period of time to be able to build muscle. And not just your biceps, that goes for literally any muscle that you're trying to grow. Okay, now for one of my favorite exercises that's going to help us build those beautiful capped shoulders, and that is single arm leaning lateral raises. So we're doing 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps here, and you're going to hold on to a sturdy surface, preferably a door frame. I couldn't get the camera in the right angle to film at the door frame, so I'm using a radiator. Might not have been the best idea, but go for a door frame if you've got one there. And holding a dumbbell in the other hand, you're going to lean away from that surface slightly. Similar to the rear delt flies, think about pushing the dumbbell outwards to the side while keeping a slight bend in your elbow. We're going to have a slight pause at the top and then lower with control, keeping constant tension on the delt the whole time. When you're lifting the weight up, try not to shrug your shoulders, because that's going to end up engaging your traps more. You want to keep your shoulders back and down as you push the weight outwards. Another thing to look out for, again, is using too much momentum. You will probably be able to lift a bit heavier than you did for rear delt flies, but you could use the same weight as you did earlier. The reason I like to include that lean as part of our single arm lateral raises is because it increases the range of motion. So leaning away from the wall is going to allow your working arm to move further at the bottom of the movement, giving you a bigger stretch on your delts. Leaning slightly can also help shift some of the load onto your delts more and reduce the unwanted assistance from other muscles like your traps kicking in. This movement also kind of mimics how the resistance curve would look if you're using a cable machine. So it's keeping the tension on your delts throughout the movement, and it can make dumbbell lateral raises more effective even if you're using light weights. So once you've done 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps on both arms, because we don't want to be leaving this workout uneven, we're done! Congratulations, you are now one step closer to achieving a snatched back. Now all you need to do is keep showing up with an effective workout routine, and you're pretty much guaranteed results. So really hope you enjoyed that workout. Let me know how you get on, share with a friend, give it a like, drop a comment, because I love chatting to you guys and I reply to all my comments. Also make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next workouts in this full week of home workout series, and make sure to check out this video next because it's the next workout in our home workout split. Love you so much, and I'll see you there.